Hi guys, my name is Haley Morrison, and I'm doing my speech tonight on pit bulls and why I think they are not vicious. I have 3 audience members in the room named Sarah, Shelby, and Kayla, and they're going to tell you what they think of when they think of pit bulls.
I think of good dogs.
I think of my friends who own 2.
I think of the rapper.
All that Kayla thinks of the rapper, that's not who we're talking about, and they all said good things about pit bulls. So, in America today, pit bulls have gained a negative stigma. Pit bulls are known to others as vicious and dangerous type of dog. They are known as dogs who bite, attack, and potentially kill others. They've been in the media lately for people not wanting them to be service dogs, people not wanting them to live in the place that they live in, and they even don't want them to live in areas where there are children. So according to Huffington Post, the breed is even banned from certain areas to rent at. So due to my research and personal experience, I believe pit bulls are not vicious and are in fact misunderstood because they are not inherently dangerous. The owners are responsible for how they act, and they are mainly family dogs. So my first main point is that pit bulls are not inherently dangerous. So pit bulls were actually first created in the 19th century, and they were mixed from a English bulldog and a terrier. So they're actually not a breed, but they're a mixed breed. Pit bulls were actually brought to the U.S. in the 1860s from the U.K., and they were mainly used as herding dogs. So people would bring them in and put them on their farms. They'd help bring in cattle, bring in all their livestock that they had to the farm and help the farmers. But they would also not only be used for that, but they'd also be used to protect the family and guard the farm for the family. So after this, people started doing research on pit bulls and how much force they actually exert in their bite. So pit bulls are actually thought to exert 16,000 pounds per square inch of force with their bite, but actually when they were actually recorded, they actually recorded 235 pounds per square inch bite. This is actually lower than Rottweilers, who have a bite of 328 pounds per bite. But according to the ATTS, 8.6% pit bulls were actually recorded to have a low temperance. They actually scored higher in a low temperance rate than Border Collies, Beagles, and Golden Retrievers. And pit bulls were actually the first breed to be recognized by the United Kennel Club, which is a big thing back in the day. So, bringing to my second point, owners are responsible for how they act. So it goes to the saying that owners are the ones that train the dogs, and so how they are trained is how that they will become. But actually, Time magazine backed up this point, saying that pit bulls were bred to work jobs and also family companions. So back in the day, people would train their dogs to help them in their area, such as like families would help farms. People would actually train them to help guard or help protect others. Some would just use them as family dogs. So people would just train them to be their man's best friend, as what other words call them. So when they did that, people would actually there was actually an instance where people would actually start training them to fight. And that's where the negative stigma started coming from. People would start getting into the fighting industry and start trying to train one dog to fight and go against another dog for money. So potentially pit bulls started becoming known for fighting by this. There were actually men that got into a big ring that wanted dogs to fight. So one man would train his dog, which would happen to be a pit bull, train it to fight, and then go against another one, and they'd get in a big ring, and which dog wins the fight is who would get all the money. And that became a big thing. So then when that dog was trained to fight, that dog was known to attack. So that's how the biting started coming about. People would try to pet these dogs. When most people see a dog, they want to pet it. I mean, I personally do. I see a dog and I just fall in love. So someone would come up to that dog and they'd instantly start going at it and fighting it and that dog would want to fight it because that's all it's ever known. So it goes to the saying that it's the breeder, not the breed. So to my third point is that pit bulls are actually used as family dogs. Personally, my aunt, she has 2 pit bulls. One is actually called Mufasa, and the other one's called Nala from Lion King, so they're really cute. And she got them when they were puppies. My aunt actually has 2 kids, so they were raised around kids. And so most people would be kind of iffy about bringing dogs to their to around kids, but she actually bred them from puppies. So when she raised them from the puppies, the dogs actually grew a characteristic of wanting to protect the kids. They'd bark and guard them, but like they wouldn't attack anyone. They'd just bark and warn the family that there's someone at the door. But when you actually come and meet them, they're actually the nicest dogs. They jump on you, kind of lick your face. That actually one of the dogs would whine until I petted them. So my brother also has 2 pit bulls, and he loves his pit bulls. He's had them since they were about 6 weeks old, and they're his babies because they're so generous, and not really generous, they're comforting. They're comforting dogs to him because they're his best friends. He's had them since he was about 17 years old. And so he's now 23, so these are like his children to him. So he raised them to be good dogs. He trained them good. So that shows also my second point, how it's also the owners. So in conclusion, pit bulls are actually not as dangerous as others make them out to be. All dogs are different. Just because one owner trains a pit bull to bite and attack does not mean that all pit bulls are trained to do that. It is not something they are born with. It is something that are taught. Any dog can be just as vicious as others claim them to be. And at the end of the day, it's not the breed, but it is in fact the breeder.